Hi, how you doing? I'm LaSandra Yevette, and this is my second YouTube video as I try to develop my channel and try to do these at least once a week. So we'll see how it goes. But today I want to talk a little bit more about something I mentioned in my very first video, and that's being empathic or being an empath. And what does that actually mean, and what does that look like? And like what is the purpose of even being an empath? How do you know you're an empath? Okay, let's talk a little bit about what it looks like when you're out in the world and you start to sense and feel things that you come to realize other people are not seeing and feeling and experiencing like you. Normally, it kind of starts when you're really young. It does, because being empathic or being born an empath is something you come to accept and understand as a sense of knowing. So let's dive a little bit deeper into that. Let's just say that if you're in a home, you're viewing a home. This is one of my favorite examples. You can view a home, let's just say that's up for sale or rent or whatever. You're doing your walkthrough, and you happen to say to yourself, like all of a sudden you're walking and you kind of feel like you want to stop in your tracks, and you feel an unsettled feeling in a space. Or as some people say, this place has like a bad vibe, or I don't like the energy of this space. So a lot of people use those analogies, which doesn't necessarily mean that they're empathic, because I do believe a lot of people still have an ability to sense things. But with an empath, it goes a little bit deeper with understanding kind of the emotions behind it. Maybe that's the best way to describe it. It's kind of like with the emotions. So I'm going to give you an example. I remember going on a open house tour, with my husband. And we got up to this particular house, and I looked on the outside, and I just really didn't feel comfortable with the energy I was feeling from the house before I even stepped foot in the house. But okay, I decided, we drove pretty far to go see this place. This is in a neighborhood where houses sold pretty quickly, and we were looking at that time. So I said, all right, let's go in. Let's take a look. But I can tell you right now, I'm not feeling the energy of this place. And it was an older home, and that's not the issue. But as soon as I stepped over the threshold, literally like as soon as I stepped over the threshold, I maybe took maybe 2-3 steps, and I literally stopped like that. And the real estate agent was kind of probably about 2-3 feet away from me. And I said, did someone die in this house? And she said, yes, they did. And I said, it's the wife, isn't it? And she said, yes, it's the wife of the gentleman who's sitting in the kitchen, and that's why they're selling the home. Well, not only could I tell that somebody had died in the house, it felt kind of unsettled. Her energies in a place were unsettled. I don't want to use the word haunting, I would say lingering. Her spirit was kind of lingering. And you could feel the tension and the energy in the home from the people who were still there. It was so obvious, especially the husband, who was kind of sitting in the corner in the kitchen, just kind of like trying to keep what he was feeling and sensing to himself, because he knew her spirit was still there. But they just wanted to sell the home. And as we continued, our walkthrough, we did another part of the house, which I believe was probably either a rec room or formerly like in a garage. And that's where the family had put like a lot of her stuff. And some family members were in there just to make space for the walkthrough. But the energy that they had was one of fear, stark fear. So at that point, the energy was really dense. I really kind of wanted to leave. I really just did not want to stay. But my husband had walked off, and he had started looking at the rest of the home. He even went down to, the cellar or basement portion, he was like, do you want to come with me? I'm like, no, I'm seriously good. And so he did. He went down there. He didn't stay very long. I asked him some questions about, what he saw. Did he feel anything? He's not really sensitive to energies per se. But that's an example of when you're feeling the energy of a space. Okay? Let's talk about what it is and what it looks like when you're feeling the energy of like a person. Let's just say you're having a conversation, a deep conversation with someone. And as they're talking and as they're explaining or as they're sharing, you get a really clear sense, like you just have a gut feeling. Either they're telling the truth or they're speaking from the heart or they're being reluctant. You start feeling the energies and the meaning behind the words. If there's more, if there's a blockage, if they need to say more, if they don't want to say more, if they're hesitant, if they're fearful, or like you will feel all of their emotions behind what they're saying. And sometimes they don't even have to say anything, to be honest with you. You can come in contact with someone and because of the aura and energy that they're giving off, if you're empathic, and spend just a few minutes in their presence and in their space, and you will know what type of person you're dealing with. If they're positive in general, or if they're kind of like, pessimistic, or if they're joyful, or if they speak from the heart, or if they're deceitful, if they're envious. All those things come through for an empath. Now, you might say, that sounds like a cool gift to have. Well, not always. Because, see, sometimes you may read energies and understand certain things that are happening, but you still are not called to necessarily speak on it. Or not at that time. It's a sense of knowing. But there's a time and place for everything. And where I am right now in my journey, I understand that a lot of light workers or way showers have these particular gifts and others, and we've been sprinkled all around the world to be able to help people to come into their own and to be able to speak and to share or to draw out from the heart or to be able to know which area that they may need a little bit more pouring into. That's the purpose of an empath. It takes time to grow into it. It takes time to, actually accept it. Because when I was younger, I really did not like it. Can you imagine you're in a heated conversation, something very pivotal where you really kind of need to know the truth of a matter. Let's say in a marriage or a relationship, and a person is talking, they could even be crying, and you just know, in your gut, they are lying. Sometimes you may even know what that truth is that they're not sharing. It can go even that much further. You can sense if it's infidelity, if there's deceit. Because see, those are also like emotions. They have their own sense of energy. And a person radiates all of these things in their aura. And when they come around an empath, before they even speak, we already know. So, there's that saying amongst empaths, like you might as well just tell the truth because it does no good to lie to an empath. Okay, it's foolish to do so. So I hope that lends a little bit more understanding, to what an empath is. If you find yourself exhibiting some of these traits, don't be afraid of them. They're God-given and they're purposeful. Yeah, it takes some time to kind of grow into them and to own up to them. And oftentimes when you're young, it's a little bit too deep for you. You don't even know that it's a thing, or you don't even know why you have this ability. And sometimes it even spooks your family members and even your friends that you have this capability. But the purpose is actually a good purpose. It's to help and to draw people forward, to help them to be able to share and come into their truths. Because remember, we have a purpose here. That's what we're talking about. We have a purpose. So that is pretty much my history, a little bit, teeny bit of being an empath. I hope you like the content that I'm sharing, That's the topic for today. And I will try to continue to do these once a week. If you do like what I'm sharing, please click the button to like and subscribe to my channel. And until the next time, as always, namaste.